Now let's take a look at another question here in example 2. Let's see what it says. The scores of all students that end up taking this Math 165 final exam have an average of 106 points on the test with a standard deviation of 12. So again, no big surprise here to find someone with 106, but also not too surprising to find somebody that overshoots or undershoots 106 by 12 points, right? That's the general That's the general meaning of the standard deviation. Now, let's suppose that a stem and leaf plot of the data shows that we have a skewed left distribution. At least what percentage of students score between 88 and 124 points? Okay, perfect. Now, I'm going to show you right off the bat here what a lot of students do on a question like this. A lot of students go, okay, Kyle, at least what percentage score between 88 and 124? And they start going, okay, perfect. I'm going to draw out my little number line. I'm going to draw out my nice little curve. And I know the average is 106. And I know that my standard deviation is 12. So I'm going to start jumping up and down by 12s, right? And so they start labeling things on their number line, you know, like here's 118. If I go down by 12, I think I'd hit 94. And they keep going, right, in either direction. And I say, wait a minute, hold on a second. I think that this picture is dead wrong. Can you tell why? Notice, a stem and leaf plot of the data shows I don't have a bell-shaped distribution. I have a skewed left distribution. And if I go back to what the empirical rule actually said, when can I use the empirical rule? Well, only when I have a bell-shaped distribution. So this is really, really difficult. What I can state here is that we do not have a bell-shaped distribution. So we cannot use the empirical rule. I can't. I'm not allowed to use the empirical rule here. So what are we to do then? Well, we don't really have any other tools at this point. Really, the best thing that we could say is that we are stuck and cannot answer this question yet. That's it. That's all we would really have to say at that point. I can't use the empirical rule. I'm stuck. Now, I will add one quick little, I guess, further explanation to this kind of seemingly disappointing answer, right? I mean, it's kind of weird to have a math class where you could just say, I don't know, as my answer, and actually be correct in saying that. But strangely, that is where we're at here. Now, what I'll add to this is to just say that we will discuss in section 2.3.3, which is our next section, how to answer questions like these. There's another rule that we will need to learn in the next section that will help us when we don't necessarily have a bell-shaped distribution. For the moment, we just need to make sure that we are hyper-aware that we cannot use empirical rule unless we have a bell-shaped distribution. Take a look really quickly then down here at example number 3. Notice this is almost the exact same question. It says data collected from last semester's final exam showed there was an average of 130 points, standard deviation of 16. The distribution of scores appeared bell-shaped. Aha, so I can use the empirical rule. And I think then I could go ahead and answer all those different parts, A, B, and C, that are on that question. Now, I'm actually going to leave example number 3 and example number 4 as one for you to go ahead and actually try out on your own. So I would ask you, pause the video and try these questions out. See if you can actually go through and answer them. Now, I'm not going to work through the solutions here, but you, of course, can go ahead and check the solutions that are going to be posted up in Blackboard. But you really need to make sure that you take the time to practice. If this feels easy, then great. That means that you should be in great shape for this section. But still practice, because you want to make sure the easy things stay easy. And if this does feel a little bit weird or confusing at first, don't worry about it. Things will definitely begin to clear up the more time you spend dealing with the idea. I also want to alleviate any concerns that you have that this particular rule is not something that I am assuming that you will memorize. When it comes to exams, you will be provided with this entire rule on the exam. You just have to demonstrate that you are able to use this particular rule. That is the main concern.